Penguin Random House Canada presents The Vagina Bible, The Vulva and the Vagina, Separating the Myth from the Medicine, by Dr. Jen Gunter. Read to you by the author.
Publisher's note: the listener is advised that this book is not intended to be a substitute for an assessment by and advice from an appropriate medical professional or professionals. For every woman who has ever been told, usually by some dude, that she is too wet, too dry, too gross, too loose, too tight, too bloody, or too smelly, this book is for you. Introduction. I have a vagenda for every woman to be empowered with accurate information about the vagina and vulva. One of the core tenets of medicine is informed consent. We doctors provide information about risks and benefits, and then, armed with that information, our patients make choices that work for their bodies. This only works when the information is accurate and unbiased. Finding this kind of data can be challenging, as we have quickly passed through the age of information and seem to be stalled in the age of misinformation. Snake oil and the lure of a quick fix have been around for a long time, and so false, fantastical medical claims are nothing new. However, sorting myth from medicine is getting harder and harder. In addition to social media feeds that constantly display medical messaging of variable quality, there are the demands of a headline-driven news cycle that constantly requires new content, even when it doesn't exist. With women's bodies, there are even more forces of misdirection at work. Pseudoscience and those who peddle it are invested in misinformation, but so is the patriarchy. Obsessions with reproductive tract purity and cleansing date back to a time when a woman's worth was measured by her virginity and how many children she might bear. A vagina and uterus were currency. Playing on these fears awakens something visceral. It's no wonder the words pure, natural, and clean are used so often to market products to women. Members of the media and celebrity influencers tap into these fears with articles about and products to prevent vaginal mayhem, as if the vagina, which evolved to stretch and tear to deliver a baby long before suture material was invented, is somehow so fragile that it is constantly in a state of near catastrophe. Why the Vagina Bible instead of the Vagina and Vulva Bible? Because that is how we collectively talk about the lower reproductive tract, the vagina and vulva. Medically, the vagina is only the inside, but language evolves and words take on new meaning. For example, catfish and text both have additional meanings that I could never have imagined when I was growing up. Gut is from the Old English for the intestinal tract, usually meaning the lower part, from the stomach on down, but not always. It's actually a very imprecise term, yet it has been embraced by the medical community and is even the name of a leading journal dedicated to the study of the alimentary digestive tract, the liver, biliary tree, and pancreas. I have been in medicine for 33 years, and I've been a gynecologist for 24 of them. I've listened to a lot of women, and I know the questions they ask as well as the ones they want to ask but don't quite know how. The Vagina Bible is everything I want women to know about their vulvas and vaginas. It is my answer to every woman who has listened to me pass on information in the office or online and then wondered, how did I not know this? You can read the book in order from front to back or visit specific chapters or even sections as they speak to you. It's all good. I hope over the years many pages will become worn as you go back to double-check what a doctor told you in the office, to research a product that makes wild claims about improving vaginas and vulvas, or help a friend or sexual partner out with an anatomy lesson. Misinforming women about their bodies serves no one, and I'm here to help end it. Jen Gunter, MD. Getting started. Chapter 1. The Vulva. No woman has ever benefited by learning less about her body. The vulva is the ultimate multitasker. It is the most important organ for sexual pleasure. It protects the tissues at the vaginal opening. It is built to handle the irritation of urine and feces, and it can deliver a baby and heal as if nothing happened, and do it all again. Oh yeah, and multiple orgasms. The penis and the scrotum have nothing on the vulva. The problem? The vulva is often neglected. A lot of this vulvar neglect is a result of patriarchal society's lack of investment in and fear of female sexual pleasure. When we exclude the vulva from conversations about women's bodies and sexuality, we erase the organ responsible for female orgasm. We also make it harder for women to communicate with their healthcare providers. The most important basic anatomic point of the lower genital tract. The vulva is the outside, where your clothes touch your skin, and the vagina is the inside. The transition zone between the vulva and vagina is called the vestibule. The main structures of the vulva are as follows: mons, labia majora, outer lips, labia minora, inner lips, the glans clitoris, the part of the clitoris that is visible, the clitoral hood, the vestibule, the opening of the urethra, the tube that drains the bladder, the perineum, the area between the vestibule and the anus. We are also going to invite the anus to the vulva's party, even though technically it is part of the gastrointestinal tract and not the reproductive tract. Many vulvar conditions affect the anus, and women often have a hard time getting help for anal concerns. Doctors often hear woman and down there and deflect to the gynecologist. Some women are also interested in information about anal sex, and fecal incontinence can be a consequence of vaginal delivery. The history of clitoral neglect. Going way back, medically speaking, as in Hippocrates, although there is a belief among many academics that Hippocrates wasn't even a real person, male physicians rarely performed pelvic exams on women or even dissected female cadavers, as it was considered inappropriate or insensitive for a man to touch a woman outside of a marital relationship. As there were no female physicians, everything first written about women's bodies in ancient medical textbooks and taught to the first physicians was what women and midwives passed along to men, who in turn interpreted the information as they saw fit. So medicine has been steeped in mansplaining from the start. Most ancient physicians, probably like many other males of the time, were unsure of the role of the clitoris and likely thought it was unimportant. This stands in sharp contrast to the anatomic glory of the penis. In medicine, all body surfaces are assigned a front or back, which we call ventral, front, or dorsal, back. If you look at a person standing straight in a neutral position, arms at the side and palms facing forward, the face, chest, and palms of the hands are on the ventral side, and the back of the hands are dorsal. This convention is applied differently to the penis, because of course it is. The neutral stance for a man, according to the anatomists of old, was a massive, skyward-pointing erection. Except, of course, men don't walk around with constant erections, and so when you look at a man in what most people would consider the resting state, meaning a flaccid penis, the part that faces you is not the front of the penis, but actually the dorsal or back surface, and the undersurface is the ventral. It's not really a small point. It's a wonderful, in a tragicomic kind of way, encapsulation of how society, including medicine, is obsessed with erections, while the clitoris barely registers as a footnote. The clitoris, when it was considered by ancient physicians at all, was believed to be the female version of the penis, but lesser. I'm sorry, but the organ capable of multiple orgasms that only exists for pleasure is not lesser. It is the gold standard. Clitoral neglect wasn't confined to medicine. Think about all those ancient Greek statues with defined scrotum and penises. Although the penises are on the small side because sexuality was apparently at odds with intellectual pursuits, and so a big brain, not a big penis, was the ideal. The vulvas of the time were but mysterious mounds concealed by crossed legs. Around 1000 AD, Persian and Arab physicians began to take more interest in the clitoris, but given the constraints imposed on male physicians touching a naked woman or even a female cadaver, work was slow. By the end of the 17th century, descriptions of female anatomy, including the clitoris, were quite accurate, anatomically speaking. Some anatomists who made these advancements are memorialized in the names of the structures they accurately described. Gabriele Falloppio, fallopian tubes, also invented the first condom and studied it in a clinical trial, and Caspar Bartholin, Bartholin's glands. By 1844, the anatomist George Ludwig Kobelt published such detailed work.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?